Sup. I guess it's another political video type thing. This one's addressed to the Young Turks. Based on, again, the election. It's old news. It's like 2 weeks old. No, was it two? It's just a week. It seems like 2 weeks. I'm so excited. Majority. First of all, dude, get your facts straight. I mean, I would say your name, but the pronunciation, I'm sorry, the pronunciation, I'd rather not embarrass myself, pronouncing it. It starts with a U. I'm sorry, but I'm going to call you Young Turk, if that's all right. Young Turk. You make the argument, first of all, that the Conservatives shouldn't have won the election because they only got 40% of the vote. Granted. But you're going back to you look back in the days when there were two conservative parties and they really only one left-wing party, major left-wing party, the Liberals under Jean Chrétien. And we had the Reform Party under Preston Manning and the Progressive Conservatives under Joe Clark, under Jean Charest. I mean, those are the Reform and PC were gaining the majority of the vote, yet the Liberals were forming majority after majority after majority after majority. Vote splitting on the right, let the left dominate for decades in Canada, literally. I think it was not decades. I think it would end up being 13 years of Liberal power under Jean Chrétien and Paul Martin. And just throwing this out there, you're really making the insinuation that our government here in Canada, our Conservative government, Stephen Harper, seems to be really corrupt and scandalous. Under Liberal government, there was something called the sponsorship scandal. Another sponsorship scandal. Billions of dollars are stolen from Canadian taxpayers and paid to corporations and paid to big CEO, big business people who just so happen to support the Liberal Party. Funny how that works. Funny how that works, eh? Now, you can support the Liberal Party. Oh, and here, at least we're not doing the same thing. I don't want to insinuate we're doing the same thing because we're not, but we're cutting taxes for corporations. Not to just support us, for all big corporations. We're cutting taxes. And people are making that seem like a bad thing, but it's really not, because we're cutting taxes across the board. Low-income Canadians, high-income Canadians, middle-income Canadians, corporations, everyone's getting a tax cut because we're conservatives, and that's awesome. I like tax cuts. Keep taxes low, government spending in the tank, it works well. You're commenting on how conservatives stop Parliament from a national embarrassment. It was from a national embarrassment. What it was, though, it was the Conservatives stopping Parliament because they were stopping a non-confidence motion. And the non-confidence motion is explained in my last video. Go check it out. Same channel. They were stopping a non-confidence motion based on this. In 2008, we had an election where the Conservatives won. A democratic election. People went out, we voted, we made our voice heard. We went out, we voted for our parties. We all voted NDP. Some of us voted Liberal. I didn't vote because I wasn't able to vote. I still didn't vote because I wasn't able to vote. I'm only 17. But I voted in the student vote, and I voted Conservative, so I kind of voted, but not really. But I would have voted Conservative. So I don't know what I'm talking about, obviously, because I can't vote. Actually, that's not true. We do know it. Anyway, we all went and voted. And we elected a Conservative minority. We elected to be said, Stephen Harper, be our Prime Minister again. Because 2016 he won the election. We re-elected him. We said, here you go, Steve. Govern again in a minority government. We had to check on him. I didn't appreciate that. But hey, we won. So, and then Stéphane Dion, who was the Liberal leader at the time, and Jack Layton said, you know what? We don't really like how we lost that election. We don't like the results. We don't think the Canadian people, we don't trust the Canadian people to elect the right government. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our 77 seats and the NDP. And by the way, you got almost every seat value wrong. I'll explain that later. I'll give you the full results. Don't worry. I'm right. Okay? I'm not saying you're wrong, your opinion's wrong. I'm just saying you got the seat values, the conservative, liberal values, they're screwed up. I'll tell. Anyway, they still said, we're going to take our Liberal 77 seats and the NDP 36. And what we're going to do is we're going to combine them. And I believe you can take a calculator out. I'll And the Conservatives had 143. Conservatives have 143 seats at this point. So the Liberals say, we're going to take our 77 and the NDP's 36, and we're going to combine them. Take your calculator out. I'll give you 5 seconds to punch in at 77 plus 36 to see if that's enough to take the Conservatives down. Go. It's not, is it? It's not enough. You don't have equal to or greater than 143 seats. So who do they need a support of, do you think? Oh, yeah, the separatists, the sovereigntists, the people who want to leave the country, the Bloc Québécois, the sovereigntist separatist party. They had to join them and say, okay, listen, we don't have enough seats, but we're going to need you to not be in this coalition, but support it so we can overturn the results of this democratic election. Because that's what we need to do. We don't trust the Canadian people. They didn't make the right decision. So they took the Bloc Québécois, I believe it was 49 seats in 2008. And just the leader of the Bloc Québécois called Canada, the nation Canada as a whole, ruinous. Yeah. But, yeah, just chew on that for a second. Just chew it up in your brain, and basically what would end up happening in that situation, where the Liberals and NDP formed a coalition with the support of the Bloc Québécois. The Liberals would put something forward that might benefit the country in some liberal, hippie, go free way. And so, you know what, this might be good for the country. It's probably going to be good. It was probably going to be like legalizing marijuana, which, you know, I mean, it's an issue, I guess, but, you know, they'd be like, okay, let's legalize marijuana, and then, you know, the NDP would be like, yeah, because we're even more liberal in that wing. And then the Bloc Québécois would be like, no, we're not going to do that. Well, then they'd be like, well, look, listen, we control the majority of this coalition, so we're going to do it. Then Bloc would be like, no, you do that, we're out. And then we're going to go to an election, and everybody hates you guys right now because you screwed up this election and turned over the results. So, yeah, that's what we're going to do with that. And then basically what they're going to say is, okay, now you're going to push the Bloc Québécois agenda, the agenda that's going to benefit Quebec, because that's all we really care about, and not the rest of Canada. We're going to push that agenda. You guys are going to do that thing. Or we're out. We're going to go to another election, and good luck. So, you know, that's why we prorogued Parliament, to stop the Liberals and NDP from overturning the results of a democratic election. That's why the Conservatives prorogued Parliament. So, you know, just throwing that out there. You know, before you go out and say stuff, I really don't like it when people don't have all the facts and don't know everything. I was here. I may be a little biased because I am a supporter of the Conservative Party. I love what Stephen Harper's doing. He's a smart guy, I think. Obviously you don't. But, yeah. And just giving you the seat totals, the Conservative Party pulled off a majority. You are right. It is 155 for a majority government. Conservative Party finished with 167. The NDP are the official opposition, meaning just essentially second place, with 102. The Liberals fall to third with 34. You're close. 34 for the Liberals, 4 for the Bloc, and 1 for the Green Party. So we have 5 seats, and for the first time since 2004, there's no independents in the House of Commons. Which, I don't, good thing, bad thing, I really don't care. You know, so if there's 5 seats, 5 things, 5 parties represented in Parliament, which I really don't mind. I think it gives us a wider view. Or other in the States, you got the Republicans, the Conservative Party, the Democrats, the Liberals. You got 2 button heads, and you got them. You know, it just doesn't work. There's butting heads up here too, but I mean, you know, you got a wider view. You got a really just environmentalist party with the Greens there who will provide insight, kind of. Will shut down my province's oil sands. Don't do that, Elizabeth May, please. Thanks. Got the NDP, the super left-wing Socialist Party. Not supporting them. And the Liberals, who have just been plagued by scandal after scandal for year after year. So, oh, and let's just explain contempt motion, too. Let's explain that, because I think, you know, Americans watching this, you got found in contempt of Parliament, that can't be good. Well, actually, what contempt of Parliament is, it's like a non-confidence motion. You go, and you know, the Speaker of the House, they put it forward. We'd like a contempt motion, and the opposite. And you know, of course, all the Conservatives are like, no, we think we're good. We followed the rules. And of course, Michael Ignatieff, who actually before this election, has been out of Canada for 34 years. 34 years. He has not lived in the country. He has not served as any public office in the country for 34 years. And he came back, and what he actually told the school newspaper he used to teach at, I think it was Harvard. It was Harvard. He told the school newspaper, if I'm not elected prime minister, I imagine you guys will let me back. So really nice, Michael. Thanks for coming. You deserved every single seat. You 43 seats you lost, you deserved them all, buddy. Thanks for coming out. By the way, Michael Ignatieff, the leader of the Liberal Party, is the first Liberal leader, like ever almost, to lose his own seat. He lost his own seat. The guy lost the election, worst Liberal defeat in history, and lost his own seat. Isn't even going there as an MP. So, yeah. And anyway, the contempt motion, they said, Harper's worst enemies put him in contempt. I wouldn't want to be in that position one day, would you? Would you want your worst enemies being able to say, put you in a position that's going to make you look horrible? But no, Canadians are smart and they say, well, you know, his worst enemies put him there, so can we really trust him? Can we really trust the Liberal Party after all they've done? No. So we elected Harper. Congrats to Canada, congrats. A majority's coming. Higher times, lower taxes. It's going to be good. Yeah, that's my second video response, I guess. Thanks.